This episode is brought to you by Venmo. With the Venmo debit card, a taco in one hand, and ordering a ride in the other means you're stacking your rewards. Nice. Get up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash on your favorite brands when you pay with your Venmo debit card. Pick a bundle with your go-tos and start earning cash back. Do more stash, get more cash. Visit Venmo.com to learn more. Venmo Stash Bundle terms and exclusions apply. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms. Max $100 cash back per month.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
JD in Las Vegas, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
I feel like I just hit the lottery. I've been trying to get through to you for about 8 months, and I love your show.
Thank you, sir.
I hear bits and pieces of it because I fall asleep half the time. But, you know, it's we're a little different time zones.
I understand that, sir.
In regard to your conversation when you were talking about Dorothy Kilgallen, I've been following the Kennedy assassination for about 64 years. I'm 82 years old, and I've read so much about it. First of all, Dorothy Kilgallen had just interviewed Jack Ruby.
Right, exactly.
So it is speculated that, you know, Dorothy Kilgallen had some inside information, and she had mentioned to some of her friends that she was going to break the Kennedy
Exactly.
wide open. And, of course, everything you said about the pills and the guest best room and everything else is true, according to what I've read. Also, the interesting part about the autopsy, it wasn't done in Manhattan. It was done in the Bureau of Queens, and the speculation was that the mob controlled a lot of the things that happened in that part of town. They had more control. They had more control of things, of how things were reported, and that's just so many different aspects to this crime. And you know, from the day the Warren report came out is when I first started following it. And there's so many oddities. I mean, we could talk for hours about it, but I found it very interesting.
JD, let me ask you a question. You say you're 82?
Yes, sir.
When did you first? Did you always think there was something wrong, or did you just, like most people, you were in shock, and then it started to seep out? Because remember, there was no Zapruder film. That was like 75. There were no internet. Nobody was coming out. Mark Lane wasn't around. It didn't. Nobody suspected really anything at first, because when you saw Oswald and you said that that guy did it. That's the fellow. That's the horror. That's the man. Okay, but then when did it all start to unravel for you?
Well, first of all, like when the Warren report came out almost a year later. And I bought the book and I read it twice back then. And I've read it, I don't know, 3 times since then. There were so many fallacies in that book with, first of all, the people that were involved in it, from Gerald Ford to Dulles and all the people that had an agenda. I was in Newark Airport at the time of the assassination. It was such an eerie feeling how the quietness of the airport just all of a sudden, a very busy airport became quiet when the news broke that Kennedy was shot. Oswald is that I was starting to say I went to Dallas 20 years ago with my uncle, who was an airborne 101st Airborne paratrooper, and my uncle was an excellent shot. He was like my older brother, only 11 years older. We were raised in the same house, and we were very close. And he was a big deer hunter, bear hunter. He just loved hunting, and he was an excellent shot. And we went on a trip to around the country, and we wound up in Dallas. I said, let's go to the Texas building where he was shot. Now, we stood in that window, I think on the 6th floor, if I remember right, right behind the plexiglass. And as Kennedy's limo is coming down Elm Street to make a 90-degree turn, a 90-degree left turn to get on the Stemmons Freeway, that car is going about 5 to 7 miles an hour when he makes the left-hand turn. And then, of course, as he's going down the Stemmons Freeway, it picks up to about 25 or 30 miles an hour. As we were standing there, I said, where do you shoot him? He says, I shoot him when he's making the left turn. He's right in front of me. He's only 70 feet below me. He's almost at a stop. I don't wait and shoot him 264 feet
Yeah.
down the road, almost a football field away, with a bolt-action Carcano rifle that fires seven. I forget this. Three
7.62
shots.
or- right.
Now, here's another oddity. Arlen Specter was brought in to recreate the shooting and do a duplicate shooting. Arlen Specter, I was originally from Pennsylvania, and Arlen Specter was the DA in Philadelphia, and then he got promoted to do this reenactment. Now, he did everything perfectly, and it wound up on Life magazine, and I called his office and asked his secretary one question, which he never called or responded to. I said, why did you use a 63 Cadillac instead of a 63 Lincoln? I forget if it was a 62 Lincoln or a 62 Cadillac now. I said, why did you not use that? I never got an answer. Now, the reason I asked that, one of my uncles had a 62 Cadillac, and the back seat is very different from a 62 Lincoln. The Cadillac slopes downward, and the Lincoln is straight. Now, that may be so not really important, except for the fact of the angle of the bullets where they hit, and the autopsy where the guys never did an autopsy before, brain autopsy.
Well, a couple of other things too. By the way, just one thing. As you know, JD, and by the way, I so love your passion and your knowledge, and I don't any way come near your lore. But keep in mind that in 1963, most of the people had been either in World War II or had been in the military one way or another. Every man from 18 on was probably a veteran. I mean, everybody was. So people were more military connected and more military aware. When the original weapon was found in the, quote, sniper's nest, and that rifle was held aloft, the original officer, whoever it was, said it was a Mauser. Remember that? Yeah. Mauser. And it was it's stamped on the barrel. You can't miss it. It's in the barrel of the whatever, the receiver, the brain, whatever it's called. The Mauser, not Manica Carcano. That's number one. The other one, which is the most interesting, is that there was a bullet in the front of the windshield, going into the car. A bullet. Right. And that car was immediately sent to either a Ford factory or something to have that windshield removed and replaced. That is the conspiracy. If you've got Oswald behind you, he can't be shooting into the windshield. So there it is.
There were so many problems with so many ways that, first of all, Oswald, I remember Oswald saying, I'm a patsy.
Yes.
Oswald, there's no record of his interrogations. It wasn't taped. It wasn't written down. Oswald made one phone call that came out, and they found out, and he called a Virginia telephone number that belonged to an FBI agent that he never answered the phone. Now, I saw something yesterday that really, I heard it, I should say, that really I never thought before. Oswald was supposedly involved in, charged with or accused with of shooting at General Maxwell.
Yes.
A hero in the Second World War, in his living room, sitting on his couch. And it dawned on me today, did they ever prosecute him for that crime? No. Did they ever accuse him for that crime? How did all of a sudden all the publicity come out that he was the one that shot and missed a sitting target in his living room? And I said, well, nobody's ever brought that up. I mean, all of a sudden he's accused of doing that. And where did they get the evidence? They didn't provide any information how they came to determine that he shot and missed.
As we say, it's rather moot now. You know what I also thought was Marcello was very close with all of the drug people from Marseille and all of the from Corsica, and this one fellow, Lucien Sarti. This was, they believed he was badge man. He loved a frangible bullet. He loved uniforms. He was killed in the streets of Mexico City in 1972. And you can look his picture up, and he was a notorious assassin. And if you think about it, JD, how if they were to come in, they thought from where, through Mexico up through Texas, maybe 2 weeks ahead of time, 10, who knows, to get a kind of a lay of the land, look around, figure out what's going on, wait, do their thing, a turkey shoot, grassy knoll, Sartee was there, Badge Man. We've all seen the movement.
Motive. Do you know the story what Bobby Kennedy did to Marcello?
Oh yes. Oh. Not only that, they picked him up, deported him barefoot,
and dropped him off in the jungle in a helicopter.
In the jungle, yes. I mean, this was, and he got back. He got back. Now, also remember, there's this thing too where people don't forget Santo Traficante, because this would have also happened in Tampa. Remember, Dallas was the last of. There were some other chances for this to happen, and also, JD, they wanted this to happen in the open. Do you remember, by the way, this has nothing to do with anything, but just to go an idea of the mentality. J. Edgar Hoover called up Bobby Kennedy and said, "Your brother's dead." Click. That was it. As almost simultaneous, they said later on, almost simultaneous to the actual event, Johnson, if you can imagine, had his saddle brought into the White House and Kennedy's stuff out. It's almost as though they knew what was going to happen. It's fascinating.
I forget the reason, but I know that Traficante was involved, and they were going to try and kill him in Miami, but I think it was a bad weather day or something, and they canceled the shoot.
Well, listen, my friend JD, it is a pleasure. I would love to sit down and just chat with you for hours and just recollect.
I got a Pat Cooper story. I remember you talking about Pat Cooper.
Oh, loved him.
Ago, and I'd love to tell you a story where I met him out here in Las Vegas in a gas station.
Well, do me again. Tell you what, you make sure you call me again and fill me in. I love that, man.
It's so hard to get through to you.
Well, you know what? You did it this time. You can do it again. Thank you, my brother.
Good luck.
I appreciate it immensely. All righty, 800-848-9222. Absolutely fascinating.